addressing you guys to you what's going on in Bullock Township.
When can we address you?
Our CBA, that's our collective bargaining agreement, that's our union contract. So it come with the seat. That's what people not saying. I didn't make this up. I didn't just create this and say, I want security.
So it looks like the feds are taking a different approach to get to Tiffany. They couldn't get her directly, so now they're getting everyone around her to talk, and it's working. Apparently, Tiffany's baby daddy is now in custody and he's already talking. This whole investigation is showing that the people Tiffany surrounds herself with aren't much better than her. Almost everyone in her circle has a case with the feds for fraud and theft. It's wild. Tiffany's baby daddy didn't need much convincing to turn on her. I guess he had to think about his kid and what's coming next, because it seems like Tiffany might be facing serious consequences soon. Now, you might be wondering how Tiffany's baby daddy fits into all of this and why he's being targeted. Let's break it down. Tiffany had been able to avoid trouble for a while because she kept shady people around her who could take the fall. When she started getting investigated for questionable actions as the mayor of Dalton, she disappeared, hoping the investigation would blow over so she could come back like nothing happened. Oh, but she was wrong. The FBI couldn't get her at first, but now, one by one, everyone she thought would protect her is turning against her. Even her boyfriend, Kamal Woods, didn't hesitate to snitch on her. Kamal is involved in shady business too. He's listed as Tiffany's boyfriend in her divorce papers, but he plays a bigger role in her work life. Tiffany even made him the director of her cancer foundation, which she allegedly funded with taxpayer money. The foundation, which was meant to help breast cancer patients, apparently was just a PR move for Tiffany. The first day the foundation started, it received $110,000 from Dalton's residents, but they didn't approve this donation. It was Tiffany's decision. She even used taxpayer money to fund a trip outside Dalton for the foundation's promotion, paying for everything from trucks and meals to hotel rooms. As if that wasn't enough, Tiffany gave Kamal a high-paying job at Thornton Township, which paid him over $100,000, money that most people in Dalton haven't seen in years. Then, the feds served Tiffany with subpoenas, asking for all the records of her businesses, including her restaurant and property management business. Tiffany's business practices are far from honest. She's been caught cutting corners, even if it hurts her clients. Back in 2019, one of her tenants lost her home because the building was covered in mold and leaking. It's clear that Tiffany has been living a very shady life.
Where the roof, the ceiling is damaged, and then it leaks going into my kitchen, and the window sill leaked in my daughter's room.
Except they weren't. Enter activist David Lowry, who called Dalton directly. Suddenly, the house deemed livable on September 3rd became unfit for occupancy on October 15th. Lowry's theory?
The trustee used her power and then
The FBI needed to get to the bottom of Tiffany's businesses, so they asked for all the records from her political fund and charity foundation. But that's not all. Things just keep getting worse for her as the investigation continues. More and more people are coming forward to expose Tiffany. She should have seen this coming, though, because her problems started early on. Just 6 months into becoming the supervisor of Thornton Township, Tiffany was already facing criticism from her so-called dream team. This group included people she chose for trustee and village clerk positions. Kiana Beller and Jason House were elected as trustees, and Allison Key became village clerk. But things quickly went south. The dream team turned into a nightmare as they started calling out Tiffany for her shady behavior. Tiffany thought these people would just follow her lead, but they didn't. 6 months into her role, they were already accusing her of mismanaging funds and running a shady, low-profile organization. By 2022, they had enough. Tiffany wasn't showing any accountability, so the trustees teamed up with the village board and sued her for major conflicts of interest. Tiffany didn't take it well and accused them of trying to ruin her efforts to improve Dalton.
And it's my heart that you are up here at this special meeting and not downstairs where we have big bingo and the staff. I don't see the staff on here. I think that's a very important bill to pay. So do y'all want to amend that and add the staff bills? Because I don't see them in none of these bills. And then we don't never do agenda like this. So all this fluff you selling to the public is crap.
Tiffany started locking the trustees out of their offices, but that didn't scare them. They were determined to get rid of her, so they started holding meetings without her. You might think the trustees were overreacting, but according to some residents, Tiffany wasn't doing her job properly. There were so many issues in Dalton, like bad roads, houses in need of repair, and a struggling police force. But Tiffany kept spending money on things that didn't matter, like billboards, first-class trips, hotel stays at fancy places like the Four Seasons, DJs, photographers, and even a personal security team. The list goes on and on. Before Tiffany became mayor, Dalton was all about the community and doing things to benefit the people. Now it seemed like everything was about Tiffany. Any event that didn't help her image or promote her got canceled. For example, there was a local event held every year for the community, but this year, Tiffany refused to give the permit for the public park they needed. Her reason? She didn't want the event to compete with her own event, which was just a few miles away. She even went so far as to block the entrance to the park with huge cement blocks to stop anyone from getting in.
Car show here in the parking lot of Needles Park in Dalton. But after paying $1,000 to the park district for this year's permit, Bosley got an unexpected call last Wednesday from Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's top assistant,
saying that the show would be shut down, but if I move my event to her location on Greenwood, that I will be fine.
Did you take that as a threat?
Yes, I took that as bullying.
Sure enough, when Bosley showed up at the park Saturday morning, he found that giant concrete barricades had been placed at the entrance, and Dalton police were threatening to tow any.
Can you imagine canceling a community event just to hold your own? That's pretty wild. But as crazy as it sounds, it's not even the worst thing Tiffany has done. So it's not surprising that the trustees and people close to her started turning against her. One trustee, Carmen Carlisle, recently blew the whistle on Tiffany. Carmen released a statement saying that for the past 2 years, Tiffany has been manipulating employees, vendors, and residents, using her position to grow her own power. She's been creating a false image of success, all while using taxpayer money from Thornton Township and the village of Dalton. Carmen also pointed out that Tiffany showed no accountability or remorse for her actions against employees and taxpayers. But Tiffany isn't going down without a fight. She's claiming she did what she thought was best for Dalton, and if anyone should be blamed, it should be her right-hand man, Keith Freeman. By the way, Keith is facing fraud charges in a separate FBI investigation.
Definitely, we will have questions.
Mayor Henyard is in a situation where she feels like she's under attack, because she is.
Bo Brinley is Henyard's criminal defense attorney, hired after the FBI served subpoenas on the village and township earlier this year. He blames Henyard's top aide, Keith Freeman.
Keith Freeman made the decision on how these funds are being used. Keith Freeman is going on these trips. You understand, this is a new mayor. This is someone that is new to this job.
But she never thought, hey, I shouldn't fly first class. I shouldn't stay at the Four Seasons.
If there was a problem with any of that, if that's not how you're supposed to do it, she relied on Freeman to tell her. He's telling her this is how we do things. The mayor didn't spend any of this money. Keith Freeman made decisions and reported to the mayor, this is what we're doing. The mayor trusted him.
As crazy as all this sounds, there are still people in Dalton who are sticking by Tiffany. They believe she's made politics more relatable and fun, and that she's not as bad as people say. Every time Tiffany posts on social media, it gets a lot of attention, almost like she's a celebrity at this point. But that doesn't mean people aren't talking, like this person who said, if this woman doesn't end up in prison for all that she's done, blatantly in the face of everyone calling her out the entire time, there's no justice left in Illinois, another person said. The fact that this investigation is still ongoing is ridiculous, and a slap in the face to the people she should already be in prison. Now, I want to know what you think. Are you on Team Tiffany, or do you agree with the people saying she needs to go on a long-term adult timeout? You know what to do. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other, very messy video.